So this is part two, creating your graph. First thing you need to do is click here to make a copy of the spreadsheet so that you can start working on it. So click on that, make a copy. So now this is yours to edit and work on. Put headings for your data in the spreadsheet as shown in the picture to the right. So notice I have volume listed first and then my mass. Make sure you do that. That is opposite as of how we have our data listed above, so just be aware of that. So I have volume, and then in parentheses put milliliters because that's your units, and then we have mass, and then in parentheses G for grams, because again, those are our units. Next, you need to actually input your data. For mass, I have 20, 30, and then 40. I made my data up. Yours will look much different. But that was my mass, and then my volume was 30, 40, and 50. So just putting those numbers in. All right, so now my data is in, and then I'm going back to my instructions to see what is next. It says highlight all of your data, including the headers, and click insert at the top and then choose chart. Okay, so I need to highlight it all. How you can do that is click and then drag your mouse until all of it is highlighted, or click in the volume one, hold down shift, and then click in the bottom right one. So for me, it's the 40. And then it will highlight all of them. But so after that, you go to insert and then chart, like so. This will create a chart. It does take a moment. There's my chart. Now yours might not look like this. So it tells me over here that my chart type is scatter, which is what I want. However, you might need to click on this and then scroll until you find scatter, which is way down here, like above the map and below the pies. There's your scatter. So if yours doesn't look like it has dots, it has points, then go down there, do that. Okay, so I have my chart, great. Coming back to my instructions, next it says, on the right where it says chart, okay, make sure you check use row 1 as headers and use column A as labels. So just to make sure that we do have this checked, so if you ever lose the little, like, I don't know, editor part, just double click inside your graph so then this chart editor comes up again. But what we need to do is within our setup, we're on the setup part, scroll down and just make sure you have both of these checked. So use row 1 as headers, use column A as labels. And again, that's in setup, and then scroll down to the bottom. So make sure those are checked. Mine are checked. If they aren't, they will look, excuse me, they'll look different, like so, but we want them checked. Okay. Next, it says click customize at the top right of the chart editor. So now I'm moving over here. We're on setup, but we want to click on customize. And then notice you have all these different things that you can edit: chart style, chart and axis, series, legend, horizontal, all these things. Okay, so first choose chart and axis titles. Add a chart title that should describe what the chart is showing. So chart and axis titles, we want the title. We don't want units in the titles. Those go on the axes. Those don't go in the title. Okay, so what we're showing here is the mass volume of an unknown material. I like to center my my titles, so I'm gonna align that to be in the center. I also personally like when it is in darker colored ink rather than the gray, so I changed my title text color to black. If you want to do that, great. If you don't, that's okay too. Anywho, moving on. B here says click series and check the trend line box. So coming back, so I no longer need to be in chart and axis titles. I need to move down to series, and then I need to scroll down and click on trend line. So there is that. And then when I do that, all this stuff below pops up as well. So coming down here, It says, oh, you can also customize the chart by changing the color and the data point symbols if you would like at this moment in time. So I am going to change my line color like so, just for fun. I like doing the stars. I think those are kind of fun. I'll change my data points. I'll make them a little bigger. Okay, perfect. I like this. You do you on that. Moving on. The last part of this that I just added is under label, click use equation. So we're still in this area underneath the trend line. At the bottom it says label. Instead of none, we want use equation, and then notice there's an equation that comes up over here. Next, it says go to the grid line section. For minor grid line count, choose for switch to horizontal and do the same thing. So we are closing up our series 1. We are going down to grid lines. Don't click horizontal or vertical. That's not this. Grid lines, and then notice now we're in vertical. And we want our minor step count to be 4. And then notice it adds all of those lines in there. And then we want to switch to the horizontal axis. So horizontal, and again, make it 4. So then we have more lines within there, so our graphs are easier to read. And then lastly, if you choose chart styles or chart and axis titles, you can customize it further. So if you want to do that, you can. You do not have to, but if you want to add a background color, you can do that. If you want to add a border color, you can do that. Those are optional. I don't like that background color. Makes me feel like it's highlighted and it's not. All right. So next I want you to copy and paste your chart into the box below. To do this, click the chart itself and push Control C, and then click into the box below and push Control V. So I'm coming over here, clicking in my chart, Control C, coming to this, Control V. You can do link to spreadsheet. It doesn't really make a difference. What that basically does, it's actually kind of cool. And this you should maybe know, is if I come back here and now make a change, so let's say, okay, maybe I do want my background color to be a different color. I can click update, and then this is still linked to that old document, so we'll update it with whatever changes you make. But so that is the end of how to make your graph. Next, you're doing your graph analysis. Question 1 here, the slope of a line can reveal useful information just by looking at the graph. How can you determine the slope? Basically, I want you to tell me the formula for slope. So you can Google it if you don't know it, but you also might know this from math class. Tell me the formula for density. You should know this or look on the first page because you calculated it a few times, but hopefully you know that. What is the rise of your graph? So what I want you to tell me is look at your y-axis and what is being represented on the y-axis. And then what is the run of your graph? So the x-axis. So you look at your x-axis. That's the horizontal one down here. What is being represented on the x-axis? And then, so what will the slope of your graph tell you? So basically, you can hopefully put a few things together. Put together questions 1, 2, 3, and 4. Like, that's how you answer question 5. So be like, okay, this is what slope is. This is the density. This is what our y equals, this is what our x equals, so what is the slope telling us? Tell me what the density of the unknown object is based on the graph, not based on your calculations, and then identify the unknown object, and that's that.